Hello. Hi, Gryffindors. Welcome to the revision of the subject Strategic Leadership and Change Management. We will be having a quick revision through the question bank that is already shared with you as we are approaching our semester end exams. Let's prepare using the question bank. And one thing to keep in mind while preparing with the question bank is that uh, your CA3 exams have been just over and you have written A part and mostly B part well, but in C part you have written very less. Writing in such a way will fetch you only less marks, so prepare well accordingly. Learn well, prepare well, and write enough and write good points with good quality and with good quantity so that you can score good marks for the final exams. Now, let's move on to the topic. Um, So we'll be having a quick recap of whatever we have learned all throughout this semester, basically using the question bank. So with the first questions, let's start. The first thing starts with what is strategy? Then what is strategic framework? What is SWOT analysis? The components of strategic management process. Again, 4 components of strategic management framework. Distinction between mission goals, objectives, different levels of strategy, then SWOT analysis of which program, then the concept of strategy, process of strategy, strategic framework, etc. As you know, strategy is something we use in war and as well in the business, as well in our daily lives. That is something, some kind of tactics, be it long term, be it short term. The strategies, the tactics that we use to get our objectives done, to get the business objectives done. That is what strategy is. Then there's a strategic framework, and that is how strategy operates, the framework within which strategy operates. That's already given in the note. And then the SWOT analysis, that is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats of every business, every person's. Then about the strategic management framework, that is strategy formulation, strategy implementation, strategic control, and all. Then about the vision, that vision is on top. Then the mission, how are we going to achieve that mission? Then there are goals, and then there are specific objectives for each department, for each persons, for each functions. Then what are the different levels of strategy? There are corporate level strategy, there are business level strategy, and there are unit level strategy. We have learned it with examples. And then the next question, C part, second question is about MMH program and doing a SWOT analysis of that. So that is quite personal kind of thing, and it was already there in the CA3 exams. So that is something you have to write on your own. Then a note on concept of strategy, process of strategy, and strategic framework, which is a combination of all these together. Then to the next part, what is vision? That is to this one, roll number 2. What is vision? How it is different from mission? Then forward integration, backward integration, expansion strategies, stability strategies, environment analysis, competitive forces, internal analysis, cost leadership, differentiation, focus, then etc. So such things we have learned using the strategic leadership and change management notes. The first module notes we have learned with it. So backward integration is like, to give an example, if a textile showroom is entering into cotton mills, textile production, that is what backward integration is. Forward integration is like someone who is manufacturing shoes but not marketing that. They are starting their own shoe retail or what footwear retail business. So that is what is called forward integration is. Then vision mission difference also is there in note. So these are some things. Then expansion strategy, stability strategy. Expansion strategy is moving forward, and stability strategies, we are going to stabilize on whatever we are there now. Then what is diversification strategy? Diversification strategy means diversifying into different sectors, or we are moving on to different sectors, like what V-Guard did. They have ventured into many other businesses. So that is what diversification is. Intensification is you are into one business and you are going to focus on that, and you are going to intensify with that business itself. Then about mergers and acquisitions, that is Vodafone Idea is a classic example for merger. For acquisition, it is Cadbury, Kraft. There is Kraft acquiring Cadbury. There is one company ceases to exist when one company acquires other company. But when it merges, both companies work together to form a new company. Then expansion strategy, again the same thing only. So merger, acquisition. Then strategic alliance. Strategic alliance means two companies have their own identity. They don't merge, they don't get acquired, but they decide to work together. They decided to, they will decide to hold hands together and work and move on. That is what strategic alliance is. A classic example is Renault and Nissan. Then what necessitates acquisition? Merger is friendly, acquisition is hostile. For example, when merger happens, both companies have their own identity, though they form into a new company like Vodafone Idea, but they still have their identity. But in the case of acquisition, sometimes the company is acquired in a hostile way. That is what it's acquired with force. Then turnaround strategy. Turnaround strategy means a company which is going in a mediocre situation, which is going in a mundane situation, sometimes turnarounds into all new, it transforms into a new organization. There's a sea change happening in the organization. That is what turnaround strategy is. Then moving on to the next portions. What is portfolio analysis? Portfolio is simply, it's simply like the simplest example is never put all your eggs in one basket. Never put all eggs under one basket because the basket may break and all the eggs may break. If your eggs are kept in different baskets, the chances of getting it broken are less and you may get more profit. Portfolio is simply that where all are you going to invest different portfolios, like different pockets. Invest, so how are you doing that? Then there are different strategies for portfolio analysis like BCG metrics, a 4-column matrix, and there is GE metrics, a 9-column matrix, which is a larger one. And both this shows market share and market growth rate and which is attractive, which is not. Chala industry number focus on, chala industry number arrange. So that is what GE metrics and BCG metrics all show. So there are strategic business units, but sometimes if it's a dog, if it's not making profit, it's better that we stop from that. But there are certain units which are very profitable, which are having high market share and which are having high market growth rate. There we should stand. So such things are learned in portfolio analysis. Then there is statistical process control. We use certain statistics for your research, right? Likewise, we can use statistical process control, profitability index, or some other statistics like how much is the market share, how much is the market growing, how much is the competition playing, what is the new trend. Such statistics can be used to decide whether we should use this strategy or whether you should use another strategy. Then there is run chart, many other charts for that matter. Then there are advantages for G metrics as well as there are disadvantages. Same for BCG metrics too. And it's unless we have clear information, if we use such metrics, we may run into trouble too. Then there are 5 M's in production: men, material, money, machine, and the last M. Different authors give different versions. You can choose whatever you want. However, men, material, money, labor, and all together makes the production happen. So these are the 5 M's in production. Then globalization, liberalization, privatization. We have learned in length and breadth in the classroom. That is, globalization is simply expanding Indian economy to that of the world. Liberalization is liberalizing on the policies so that business can be done with more ease. Privatization means whatever sector which was earlier only with the public, with the government sector, is now open to the private sector, or such companies are being divested and the shares are being issued to private sector so that there is good competition. A classic example is BSNL, or Indian Railway is set to be privatized soon, or insurance sector was earlier only with the government, but now it's open with the private sector. So this is an example for privatization. Then the stages in strategic management process, then the evaluation strategies, yes, all we have seen that in the notes. Then next is it's basically it is this stages in strategic management process means it starts with strategy formulation. That is, it starts with the environmental scanning. We will be scanning the environment. We will be seeing what is happening in the environment, what is the situation, and based on that we will be formulating strategies. And based on such strategies, we will be implementing that. Then we will be evaluating that strategies, and if needed, we will take control of the strategies and we will revisit the strategies and we will again repeat the cycle. This is the stage. These are the stages in strategic management process. Then in the next 2 or 3 questions, we see about different types of leadership style, which we have been learning from the first semester organizational behavior. And in many other subjects, we have learned about this in management as well as in HRM, during marketing, during different case studies, we have learned about different types of leadership styles. There is no particular leadership style which is very good. There is no particular leadership style which is very bad. But based on certain situations, based on certain personalities, there are prominent leadership styles, and we have to use them for the betterment of the organization. Now, next we come to, just a second. Yeah, next we come to different advantages of globalization, disadvantages of globalization. Then the challenges of going global. It's not easy to go global. Your company brand name, the conditions in the foreign market, your own strength and weakness, everything matters when you're going global. Then there are different strategies different companies use for international expansion. You may have an ally there. You may just go directly and you may invest 100% and you will start afresh there. Or there are different ways in which you can go global. Or you can license, you can give someone the franchisee. There are different ways in which you can go to other countries and start your business. Then again, it's with different types of leadership style for role number 9, 10, and I think 4. We'll see. Yes, for 11 also, there are different types of leadership styles again. Then for role number 12, it's about Generation X, Y, baby boomers, etc. So there are, as we know, in organizations, there are different types of people, and same strategy that doesn't work for everyone. So we have to apply strategies accordingly. That is what Generation X, Generation Y, baby boomers, etc. say. Then what is strategic diversity leadership? There are people who are diverse. There are organizations where people from different diverse backgrounds, different family, different ethnicity, different languages all come together. And there you need to have multiple strategies so that you can manage the organizations well. Then there are generic challenges for organizations. For example, COVID-19 is a generic challenge which has been affecting every industry alike. For some industries it was positive, for some industries it was negative, but COVID-19 has impacted every industry alike. So that's a generic challenge. Or technological change, internet, 4G, 5G, everything is a generic challenge. It gives opportunities, it gives challenges as well. Then there are challenges faced by hospitality industry, there are challenges faced by education institutions, etc. So that's something which is to be written creatively based on readings and based on observations around. The next is from the topic of role number 13. What is environmental dynamics? It's about what is happening in the environment. The environment is not static, it's dynamic. Environment is not only about ecology, but environment is about our surrounding. It is dynamic. It keeps on changing. And in the changing environment, how are we going to stand? So that is what is environmental dynamics is about. Then there are advantages and disadvantages of globalization. Then virtual organization. As we are now having the classes online, this is what simply a virtual organization is. Many organizations have now moved into virtual platforms rather than anytime else because of COVID-19 and other things. Then about artificial intelligence, many services that we use, we get from Google and all, is based on artificial intelligence, and it's on the rise. It's improving day by day. And what is its impact going to be there on hospitality? Then CSR activities, there is corporate social responsibility activities. There has to be critically analyzed. What are its advantages? What are its disadvantages? Why do we need CSR activities? How can it be made more effective, etc. Then there's a question about how ethics is important. So why ethics is important? Ethics is not only based on law, but it's also based on certain norms, certain values, certain innate values that we have. But so how will we do that? Then how should we adjust with the economic climate that's happening? For example, savings bank interest rates or fixed deposit interest rates are really reducing. So at that time, what should we do? So that's one question. So how do we do with the economic environment? Then different CSR initiatives that can be done, etc. The next is a question about HATS. You had been to the inauguration of virtual HATS for the first time ever. Normally HATS happens HATS is happening next year, really, my mistake. HATS is, last year you went to HATS and you know what HATS is and how has it impacted the tourism industry, you know it, so you can write it that way. Then what is interim leadership? That is when there's a leadership change from one person to another. So there's an acting leader in between to make the transition smooth or to fill the gap. So that is what interim leadership. Then there's an electronic leadership. That is right now what I'm taking for this class is an e-leadership. Then what is ethics? Then um, how Lulu took advantage of globalization, then advantages and challenges of interim leadership, etc. So these are some things we have from the portion of roll number 15. Then roll number 16, transitional leadership is the first question. Then difference between leaders and managers. Then how to develop leaders, how to develop managers. Then about acquisition, then about OBT, etc. In the next question also, that is for roll number 17 also, we see about OBT, MDP, job rotation, etc. There is on-the-job trainings and off-the-job trainings that is happening in organizations, which can help the employees perform better. And there are management development programs which can improve their managerial skills. Outbound trainings, like you did with Munar Adventures last year, there are examples of management development programs and which can improve managerial skills of newcomers as well as existing managers. It can improve a lot of team building, and it will help sort out certain problems, and it will help you devise new strategies, and it will be also a relaxing platform too. So there are different advantages for OBT programs as well as MPT programs. The job rotation will help you, suppose in the department, if every teacher is able to take any subject, it will help cope up with any adverse situation that may come up. So job rotation is one thing that can help organizations. Then for roll number 18, the questions, the first three questions are based on, not the first three questions, even the essay questions, they're all based on the 5 stages of team building. Remember the movie Saptama Sri Taskara? There we see that forming, norming, storming, performing, and adjourning. Sorry, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. The 5 stages of group formation. They come together, they have problems in between, they decide the norms, then they do the work, and then they are split apart. Sometimes they may come together again. So that is so these are the stages of group formation. Then there is about interventions. Intervention means idapadalugal. That is when you see that there are some problems, there needs to be interventions. For example, if there is a rift, if there is a problem happening in your class teachers may intervene. So that is what intervention is. Team building intervention is if you feel like, okay, the class is not having a good team work. So there need to be a team building intervention from the side of class reps or from the class teachers. That can be personality based. That is, there are different personalities in the class, and based on that, you can do a team building exercise. Then you can use activities for team building. You can use skills for team building. So these are the different types of team building interventions. Intervention means ഇടപെടലുകൾ. Then when we see that there is എവിടെ ഒരു കുറവുണ്ടല്ലോ എന്ന് തോന്നുമ്പോൾ ഒരു ഇടപെടൽ നടത്തുന്നതിനാണ് intervention എന്ന് പറയുക. Then the sources and solutions for organizational conflict. You remember the things that we learned in OB, as well as think of situations that has happened in your class, in your organizations, in your family and all, and you can write about personal, professional, social, economical, and many other factors which lead to organizational conflicts and how they can be solved too. Then strategic intervention is again, there are different types of interventions. So strategically interventions when an organization is feeling that it's it's dipping, it's being falling down, then there needs to be strategic intervention from someone. And then there are different types of conflict management strategies. Then there can be party directed mediation. That is, when there is a problem with someone, when 2 persons or 2 organizations or 2 groups are having problems, there can be mediations, madhyastha charchagal, that can be initiated by one party or other party, or even by a third party. Then problem solving skills can be used for team building. Then conflict is not bad. Conflicts create new ideas if managed well. But conflicts, if not managed well, will ruin the organization. Conflict is as such not bad, but it has to be managed well. That's it. Then there are 2 case studies concerned with that. One is in a hotel property, the other one is concerned with an autonomous college regarding conflicts. Conflicts are not bad, conflicts are good, but it has to be managed well. That's all. Then for roll number 20, it's about negotiated performance appraisal. That is, performance appraisal means when fixing your salary, if it's just a one side, that is, okay, the boss is saying that you are going to get this much salary or this much salary hike only this year. So this is a one-way appraisal. Negotiated performance appraisal means both parties will negotiate. രണ്ടുപേരും അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും സംസാരിക്കും, superior and subordinate. There could be a 360-degree appraisal, and based on that, the salary will be fixed. That is what negotiated performance appraisal is. Then organizational development is a continuous effort for development of individuals in the organizations. Then human process intervention means ആൾക്കാർ ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്രവർത്തികളിൽ like certain activities may be you remember Hawthorne studies and all that you learned in management principles. That is ചില വ്യക്തികളുടെ ചില പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ ഓർഗനൈസേഷന് നന്മയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടായിരിക്കില്ല. So there could be human process interventions there. That is അവരുടെ പ്രോസസ്സിനെ മാറ്റിവിടുന്ന രീതിയിലുള്ള, ആ പ്രോസസ്സിനെ കറക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന രീതിയിലുള്ള ചില ഇന്റർവെൻഷൻസ് ചിലപ്പോൾ വേണ്ടിയതായിട്ട് വന്നേക്കാം. There need to be techno-structural interventions. The technology, the structure of the organization needs to be changed sometimes. ഈ ഭയങ്കര ഹൈറാർക്കിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഓർഗനൈസേഷനുകൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ കാര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് തീരുമാനം എടുക്കാൻ ഭയങ്കര പാട് വന്നേക്കാം. അപ്പോൾ ആ ടെക്നോളജി, ആ സ്ട്രക്ചർ തന്നെ മാറ്റിയെടുക്കുന്ന രീതിയിലുള്ള ഇന്റർവെൻഷൻസ് ചിലപ്പോൾ വേണ്ടി വന്നേക്കാം. ഓർ ടെക്നോളജിയിലുള്ള ചില ഇന്റർവെൻഷൻസ് വേണ്ടി വന്നേക്കാം. Like you see, there are new technologies coming up for our exam and all. So these are all technological interventions. പുതിയ technological interventions can help a lot in correcting many other things. ഇപ്പോൾ റേഷൻ കാർഡിന്റെ കാര്യത്തിലൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെയൊക്കെ റേഷൻ കടകളിൽ കുറെ കൂടിയൊക്കെ വെട്ടിപ്പും തട്ടിപ്പൊക്കെ നടക്കുമായിരുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. പക്ഷെ now with new technologies like fingerprint, like the OTP coming in and all, that's a new technological intervention which has helped, a technological intervention by the government to control the malpractices that is happening there. Or having a camera in the class is a technological intervention or a techno-structural intervention. Then the next is about OD programs, already said. Then socio-technical systems, that is ഒരു social group in ഒരു technological system ആണ് socio-technical system. What are the techniques that we use to manage that group? Then HRM interventions, already said. Human resourceകളിലുള്ള പോരായ്മകളെ തിരുത്താനായിട്ടുള്ള ഇടപെടലുകൾ, that is what human resource intervention or HRM interventions mean. Then structural interventions means organization structural തന്നെയുള്ള, say ഭയങ്കരമായ ഒരു സ്ട്രക്ചർ ആയിരിക്കും കിടക്കുന്നത്, ഒരു ഹെഡ്, അതിന്റെ താഴെ ഒരാൾ, അതിന്റെ താഴെ ഒരാൾ, the structure may be so long that തീരുമാനങ്ങൾ എടുക്കാനായിട്ട് വളരെ പാടുപെടുന്നു. So there could be a structural intervention happening there. Or it could be the otherwise also. The organization is having a very loose structure. ആരും ഒരു തീരുമാനം എടുക്കാൻ ഇല്ലാത്തൊരു സ്ട്രക്ചർ ആയിരിക്കും ചിലപ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടാവുക. So there comes someone's intervention to change that structure. Say certain political parties have a very upper hand now because their structure has been made strong these days. Then TQM is total quality management, is a Japanese concept for improving quality in production and as well as in service, as well as in all aspects. Management by objectives is, you have learned in principles of management in the first semester. Management by objectives is doing your management based on objectives that are to be achieved. Then QWL is quality of work life, that is work life balance. Then OD interventions, it goes with the previous topic. Yeah, that's it. That is then succession planning, that is when organization have a clear succession plan, ഇയാൾക്ക് ശേഷം ആര്, അയാൾക്ക് ശേഷം ആര്, that will help smooth transition of organization, and there will not be any problem when someone retires or someone dies off all of a sudden. There is no problem happening. So that is what succession planning is. So അവരെ വളർത്തിക്കൊണ്ടിരുന്നതാണ് succession planning. Career planning is concerned with individuals as to where should I be after this much years, etc. Then restructuring is revamping the organization. Then legislations can sometimes lead to destruction of industries. So for example, bar hotels in Kerala once faced serious issues with legislational concerns. Or very recently, the online rummy games are being stopped by the government. Then there are different reasons for restructuring organizations. Then different reasons for change in laws is then how to implement total quality management. It's based on organization to organization, but you can have quality improvements in all sectors like production, human resource, marketing, finance, and all areas to bring in total quality management. Then re-engineering is again it's concerned with restructuring. Then sensitivity training, grid training, and all is like different types of training for your human resource so that the organization performs better. It's all concerned with OD, organization development. Then there are different stages of resistance to change. Change, it doesn't happen easily. ആദ്യമേ എല്ലാവരും ചേഞ്ചിനോട് ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് തിരിഞ്ഞു നിൽക്കും. There are four stages of resistance to change. ആദ്യമേ ഡിനയൽ, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് പിന്നീട് അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അതിനോട് താരതമ്യപ്പെട്ടു പോകുന്ന ഒരു സ്റ്റേജിലേക്ക് വരെ എത്തും. So it's true with persons, it's true with groups and all. So that is resistance to change, and there are different reasons. There are different um, factors affecting change management. Then there is T group training. Uh, then how can you handle resistance to change? You can use cooperative strategies. You can give them more awareness. You can what help them to understand the need for change, and you can improve change management, and you can facilitate change management more easily. And once change is happening also, change അങ്ങനെ happen ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അതേപടി അവരെ വിട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ചേഞ്ച് സ്മൂത്ത് ആയിട്ട് പോകത്തില്ല. യു ഹാവ് ടു ഫോളോ അപ്പ് ദാറ്റ് ചേഞ്ച്. അതർവൈസ്, അതായത് കാരണം ഒരു ചേഞ്ച് ഉണ്ടായി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഓർഗനൈസേഷനിൽ പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരു മാറ്റം ഉണ്ടായി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, മേ ബി you are being transferred to another place, or your position is changed. പെട്ടെന്ന് വളരെ സന്തോഷമുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമൊന്നും ആയിരിക്കില്ല. അത് പതുക്കെ റീഇൻഫോഴ്സ് ചെയ്തത് കുഴപ്പമില്ല എന്ന് എൻഷുർ ചെയ്യുന്നത് വരെ ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻ ഷുഡ് ബി വിത്ത് ദാറ്റ് പേഴ്സൺ ഓർ വിത്ത് ദാറ്റ് ഗ്രൂപ്പ്, so that organization doesn't break apart when changes happen. Say for example, the college is moving to autonomous. അപ്പോൾ autonomous ആകുന്ന കാര്യത്തിൽ ആദ്യമേ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്ന പോളിസികളും കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ, എവിടെയൊക്കെ വീഴ്ചകൾ വന്നു, how can that be improved? Such thing has to be done, and the progress has to be monitored. And if corrective actions are required, that has to be done. If reinforcements are required, that has to be done, so that that change has happened smoothly and new things are in place. Um, so that is it's like tarring a road. ഒരു മണ്ണായിട്ട് കിടന്നിരുന്ന റോഡ് ടാർ ചെയ്ത് കഴിയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും പലതവണ അതിലെ അമ്മാവങ്ങൾ ഓടിച്ച് റോഡ് ഓടിച്ച് ഇറ്റ്സ് മെയ്ഡ് ഷുവർ ദാറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ഓൾ ഓക്കെ. സോ ആൻഡ് ഇടയ്ക്ക് വീണ്ടും റിവൈസ് ചെയ്യുകയും ചെയ്യും. സോ അവിടെ പൊട്ടലും പൊളിച്ചിലും ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാകുന്നുണ്ടോ, ഇൻ കേസ് such thing is happening, it has to be retarred again. So likewise, when change is happening, അത് റീഇൻഫോഴ്സ് ചെയ്യണം. ചേഞ്ച് ഇല്ലാത്ത പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ടോ, what has happened to individuals, what has happened to the organization, നമ്മുടെ പ്രോഫിറ്റ് കുറഞ്ഞു പോയിട്ടുണ്ടോ, ആൾക്കാരുടെ മൊറയിൽ കുറഞ്ഞു പോയിട്ടുണ്ടോ, what should we do with that, and all that has to be done. So coming back to the entire topics once again, it's about strategic management, different levels of strategy, different types of strategy, different types of leadership, different types of organization developments, different types of organization development initiatives, then different kinds of strategic interventions when there are things going apart, then how to manage change, how to devise strategies, how to devise long-term strategies, short-term strategies, how to make sure that they are running effectively. So these are the things concerned with the strategic management and strategic leadership and change management, which we all practice knowingly or unknowingly in our day-to-day life. Sometimes it's effective, sometimes it's not. May this subject help you design strategies more effectively. This is not a one-time subject, it's a lifelong learning. May God bless us to learn and use this subject for the betterment of ourselves, for our good, for the good of the entire world, and for the greater glory of God. All the best for your exams. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you so much for your cooperation. If there are any doubts, please feel free to revert. I'll be available in mail or in WhatsApp, or you can meet me in the college. So all the best. Happy exams. Happy learning. Thank you. Thank you so much.